Hi, Richard Little from Your Land Partner. I want to talk today about sourcing land and development opportunities through agents. Now, by agents, I'm tending mostly to mean commercial agents, including land agents. I'm not talking about registered sources on this occasion. That's going to be another day. So much more just commercial agents and land agents. So just to sort of frame where we are or where we've always been, we just don't. Until relatively recently, over the last few months, back into last year, I guess is yes. So actually now we've got some opportunities that come to us from agents that we've got a reputation with, or some credibility with, probably, rather than a reputation. A reputation can go either way. Just bear with me. Let's get me so you can hear me properly. There we go. There we go. I haven't said, if you missed much, I haven't said much up to now anyway. So, right, agents, okay. Yeah, we generally don't. We're now starting to. I'll give you the highlights and then go into a bit of detail. Agents work for us in a buyer's market. And the only time we really have buyer's markets is in periods of uncertainty. So now, right now, where I'm sitting and when I'm recording this is a period of uncertainty. And that effectively for me means that it's worth talking to agents. So I want to first sort of say why we don't buy from agents generally is because an agent, when they're working for the seller, it's their job. They're instructed to actually get the very, very most money that they can for a site. Well, for us, that generally means it's too much. So we don't even waste our time looking at stuff that comes from agents. Unless it's been on the market a long, long time, then we might have a little look at it and we may then get an introduction. We have had trickles of bits and pieces over the years, but we're not buying it directly from the market, as it were. We might just have an introduction to an agent and then get them to introduce us to the vendor and pay the agent's fee. Always happy to do that. That's not really a problem. But actually looking at things like Rightmove, Zoopla, on the market, even Estates Gazette, which is not too bad, but it's just too much competition. So we have to we look at a lot of stuff. We have to filter a lot of stuff out. So to get one proceedable deal, we're probably going to look at way over 100 filtered deals and appraise a good percentage of those. So there's a lot of resource there. So we're not really going to spend a lot of time if we just scraped everything from the commercial agents that are online, etc. We could have 1-2 people full-time appraising, and we know we're not going to get any deals because in a seller's market we're not going to compete because we will not buy anything unless it's on the right terms. That means that it's viable. But when you think about agents, as it's the easiest place to go. There's stuff there, so many people do it. Then you sort of think, well, okay, everybody's got to do it, but actually no. If we're talking about land agents, that's a somewhat different thing. So we've recently had some success with a land agent, fairly newly introduced as well, and the guy is a good guy. He works effectively for relatively, local, semi-regional sort of agency, new department, and the guy's been around, knows his stuff, and we come to him, sort of recommended to him, we have a conversation with him, which we did. We come across as credible, he understands how it works, introduces us to a landowner, and the deal's in legals very, very, very quickly. Now, he knows that he could talk to 10 other people, but he's not going to get a better deal than we've negotiated with a landowner. So, there is no point in him. So what you've got there is what we would probably term as the agent's black book. Now, if you can get in the agent's black book, now generally you'll need to do that is you you become a preferred buyer, if you like. So you've got a track record of buying potentially from them better, but certainly you've brought off of somebody fairly recently, and you also have a track record for delivery of projects, etc. So bringing that stuff through. Now, if you do that, then many agents will have conversations with you, because how do you distinguish yourself from everybody else? Be credible. So agents, when they're in, when they're in the bar sometimes and they're relaxing, you can have a conversation with them that they've just achieved £1.2 million for a piece of land, and they know that it's probably 300 grand over the top. So many agents understand. They know what's viable and what isn't viable. Just because they're promoting something, they're offering something for sale at what you and I would consider to be too much money, doesn't mean to say they don't know what they're doing. They actually do know what they're doing, because they're actually marketing that for as much as they can. So there's a lot of nonsense spoken about agents, and agents also speak a load of nonsense. But I'm not here to bash agents. We have a lot of respect for agents, especially those ones where we say we have a relationship. Now, most of our stuff with agents is done at the other end, is on the sales side. So that's also another way that you get credibility at the purchasing end. So now, from an agent's point of who to deal with, so we've got national agents, we've got regionals, we've got locals. So we tend to sort of, in any area that we're looking at, we're actually looking at probably a national or a regional plus a local. So most areas that we're involved with and we've got partners with, we will have just 2 agents that we speak to in that area, because you don't need to speak to the others, because good agents know exactly what's available in their area, on their patch, regardless of whose books it's on. They know what it is. So an agent, effectively, in a buyer's market particularly, can become your own sourcer, your own dedicated sourcer. You tell them what you want. Be very, very concise in what it is you're looking for. Don't just say, I want a development project, and it can be anywhere. It doesn't matter whether it's 1 unit or 100 units. That's just too much. Be much more precise. Be actually what it is you are actually looking for. Now, you might be looking for a subject to planning deal, potentially. You might be looking at an option or a promotion. So as long as you understand all those terms and you actually have a conversation with the agent and they know you understand them, and it's not rocket science, any of it. A little bit of reading will give you enough to actually get by. But most agents are looking for, and most sellers really, the vendors and the agents working for them, are looking for unconditional sales. And we don't do those. That doesn't mean saying that you guys shouldn't do them, but we don't do them because it means we're taking the risk, and we're not going to take the risk. Okay, so we may well do what is an unconditional purchase if a property or a piece of land has a existing value, not necessarily with planning. It might have some planning on it that's perhaps the wrong planning for us, but it still has a paper value. Then okay, yes, we can purchase at that base point, but we're not going to be paying premiums. We're not going to be paying over the odds. We're not going to be paying money for development potential. So but say good agents, they know. Agents are very good judges of character. They have a conversation with you, and they will very, very quickly know how motivated you are to buy, and they're very good at manipulating. Sorry, that's not the right word. Managing, getting the most out of you that they can, and they will often get people to overpay. And that's not because they're bad people. It's because they're skillful at their job, and maybe the people that are approaching them aren't really hiding enough, if you like. They're not that credible. So what sort of stuff does the agents get? I mean, they don't get everything that's around. Of course they don't. We do most of our stuff direct to vendor, but that's a conversation for a different day. But they get a lot of stuff from a lot of people, because if you're looking to sell a building that has some potential, or you're looking to sell some land, then you go to the agents, because that's where most people go. Makes sense. So they also get a lot of stuff from administrators. They get a lot of stuff from, direct from funders when they're taking assets back, certainly in uncertain times, etc. They do a lot of that stuff. Some larger organisations, some sell their own, some sell through agents like councils, etc. Some areas have got their own setup, some they do through agents, because they have to be seen to be getting the right price, to get the highest price possible. Larger companies and other developers as well. They may well sell through agents. Now, does all that stuff come direct to the market, actually reach the market? Well, it does to a degree, but as you say, you want to be in what we call the black book territory. You don't want to be doing viewings when there's 30 other people looking at it. Don't even bother going, because, why are you going to get it over everybody else? What are you going to see that nobody else does? If it doesn't sell, and it's on the market for a while, then wait. As I say, the credibility you get from an agent is not just about what you buy; it's what you don't buy, and and if you're putting an offer forward, it's always good to put a couple of offers forward to an agent, just to get to know them. So even if you don't intend buying it, you put some numbers together, and you sort of say, well, okay, you were offering at 1.5, we're at 800 grand. That's a massive difference. Now, but what that does is, if you are not lowballing them too much, and a good agent will actually agree, sort of say, yeah, actually, you might not tell you, but they think, oh, these guys know what they're talking about. They're not going to overpay. And that's what you want to actually understand. That's the relationship you want. You actually want them to say, all right, I've got something that's got some potential. These guys can deliver. Let's go and see what they offer us. Now, expect on some occasions, because agents are very crafty people, don't believe too much what they say, even the real credible ones. They're salespeople, anybody who's in the sales don't always tell the 100% truth, do they? And it's business, it's the real world. That doesn't happen anyway. Basically, don't be naive that they're always going to tell you and declare everything. Be transparent. So, that they may sort of say, come to you and sort of say, oh, this is coming to the market. Are you interested? And we get this now. We're getting it quite a bit this year, since the turn of the year. And they're actually sort of saying, look, what do you think? And we're going back. We did one recently on a site with some bungalows. I can't remember. Now, the agent knows that the owner's expectation is too high. So the agent comes to us and says, look, what can you do? Put an offer together. Now, we know that the agent isn't actually going to, he isn't going to be able to persuade the landowner to get it to us at the price, because I think this is the occasion the landowner's expectation was 3 million, and I think we were down at about 1.2, something like that. Yeah. But actually, we're building the relationship up with the agent, and it's actually, we're helping them put a credible number to lower the expectation of the landowner, of the vendor. Other ways it can work is the landowner will come to you, the agent will come to you and sort of say, can you have a look at this? I've not offered it to anybody else. Now, that they are going to, but actually don't worry, but have a quick look and sort of say, we're going ballpark figures then, sort of say, oh, we're between 300,000, 400,000 or 3 million or whatever it might be. It's a ballpark. We're not committing to an actual number, because we just really want to put it out there to sort of say that's where we think it will be. Allow them to go away and do the stuff that they don't think they're doing, and then they'll either come back to you or you'll have a call with them and sort of say, what's happening with that one. And your strongest tool in your toolbox when dealing with agents is the ability and being prepared to say no, to pull away, because, as I say, they're very, very astute, very, very good at recognising and drawing out motivation. And in a position where I sit and the business sits, and I sit with Bryn, is we see more motivated buyers than we do motivated sellers, and it is so obvious to us, the motivation, and we could use that if that's the way we were, because people are just so keen. We could squeeze another 5 grand, 50 grand, 500,000, depending on what it is, out of them, because you just recognise it. You can see it in their eyes. So anyway, what you want to become is a preferred buyer with an agent. And in times of uncertainty and times of uncertain economy, higher unemployment, etc., then it becomes a buyer's market. They will be working for you. Yeah, am I just working for you? They're working for other people. But if you're in an area and you're working on the right deal sizes, then there will be less competition. The biggest thing you've actually got is you need the cash. You need to produce the money that, you've got to. When these guys say they want proof of funds, if you haven't got proof of funds, they've seen it all before, guys. They've seen it all. Pretending you got the money and not having the money, your credibility's gone out the window. Next time you go to them, you'll be bottom of the list or halfway down the list or whatever. Yeah. So the other side of that is, as soon as you've got interest with some agents, they automatically come up, we've got somebody else. Guys, agents, it don't wash, guys. It doesn't work for most of us. Yeah, you might get away with it occasionally, but you lose your credibility with us. So credibility is a two-way thing here. And personally, I know quite a number of good agents. I know a lot more average, and I know some very, very poor agents. And on the flip side of that, I know some very credible buyers or some very credible developers, and that actually, they're very credible and they go in and they deliver, they do what they say they're going to do, and if an agent's asking something, that they will deliver, and if they're asking for proof or they're asking for, some numbers and, perhaps a breakdown of the numbers, they'll do it. But I don't know as many of them as I do average buyers, developers, and I know an awful lot of poor ones, and bizarrely, or maybe not so, the poor ones are the ones that think they're really good, and they think they make a great impression with the agents. And news for you guys, you're just playing each other often. It's all a bit of a game. But what I want to say is, at the right time, agents can be fantastic for finding new opportunities. Tell them what you want. It's not just stuff they've got on the market, stuff that's coming up. They can go and have a conversation. Yeah. And people that have been around a while, they know you're not going to bull them. And effectively, after a couple of conversations, they know they're not going to bully you either. Yeah, there's still a little bit to and fro because we have to play the game, we have to do the dance, we have to do the negotiations. We've got to do that because we've got to feel like we've played our part. You've got to allow everybody to play their part, fulfil their role. So we still much prefer and do the vast majority of the stuff that comes on our desk is direct to the vendor. Like I say, that can be occasionally from an introduction from an agent, and as I say, the main thing you've got to make sure with agents is they are going to get their fee, and sometimes they'll get extra fees depending on how they introduce you, what they can tell you. If they know, for instance, a particular motivation of a seller, then okay, that's worth additional fee, additional 0.5%, 1%, whatever, could be worth a lot. And equally, they will not waste your time, because if they come to you and you sort of say, well, okay, what's the seller's situation, and they say, well, they've got an expectation of, say, $1 million, I expect it's possibly not going to be worth that much. Have a little look at it, but they're prepared to hang on, then we won't even bother looking at it unless there's another reason to do so. So so agents is go out and meet a couple. However long you've been doing this, even if you haven't dealt with agents before, go and talk to a couple. You might talk to 5 or 6 before you find one that actually, they are going to deliver. Test them, get them to send you some stuff. 2 days later and you haven't got any, you can give them a call and sort of say, disappointed, or send them an email. What's happened? And then you might find it's the right agency, but the wrong person in the agency. So don't worry about it. Ask to speak to somebody else. Don't worry about upsetting people that aren't any good. There's always, pretty much, I would say, in every agency, there's at least one good one. Otherwise the agency would die. Certainly if they've been around a long time. And it might be the man at the front. It might be the man in the office at the back. It might be the lady in the office. Sorry, it's a bit sexist there. It might be the person in the desk at the front or in the office at the back. So it comes down to, it's a people thing. Everything's a people thing. But it is. But you have to deliver. It's not just a people thing. It's not about shaking hands, getting on and telling your story and, etc., and listening to them. It's about delivering. And it's very much a two-way street. So that's been Richard Little. from your land partner, and I will see you again on another occasion. Thank you.